Our next question comes from the High Strangeness subreddit from Chessboxer4. One of the biggest obstacles to disclosure seems to be the impact upon the collective perception of science and scientific authority, which has declared the chances NHI are here so minute as to be basically unworthy of consideration. If disclosure makes many of our scientists look incompetent or ineffective, and most importantly, unscientific, how will that impact the scientific community and the collective perception of science?
Um, well, the first thing I would say, it is the job of the scientist to be wrong every day. Because tomorrow, after you figured one thing out, you're going to figure out that yesterday you were wrong. And so, you know, yes, I think there will be a lot of "I told you so." I think there will be a lot of head scratching and a lot of pushback. There's still people today who think the Earth is flat. But scientists do have a way of adapting. And so I'm not that depressed about what will happen to the credibility of scientists. I think it's going to be up to the scientists who are willing to convert based on data and results to say, okay, well, this is worth my time to look into. I've taken the time because I've already achieved what I needed to in my career. And so I find the question of whether or not there is something here fascinating. And for all the reasons that Hal laid out and all the people that I've spoken to, I can't see that many people lying about it uh, across a decade and keeping the story straight. So I think it's worth the effort. And what I'm pleased with are not only the number of scientists who come up to me at meetings and say, "Thank you for doing this. Would you actually talk about it publicly, at this meeting?" But also the emails that I get just thanking me. Hundreds of emails and dozens from scientists saying, "This is really exciting. How can I help?" So I think there's probably a lot of people who only because of stigma don't want to admit that they think it's real, not because they have anything against it. Yeah, there's a bunch of people who are just sticks in the mud, and that's just. But those people are important as well to have in a scientific community to basically act as the guardrails to make sure that you don't overconclude.
That's a great point. Jim, did you have something you wanted to add to this?
Yeah, I just want to kind of augment what Gary's talking about. The stat I heard not too long ago was that over 70% of the population of the world have claimed to have an experience of some unknown phenomena. So when you start thinking about, is it really possible that they're all delusional? And I think what happens is that the scientists will start or are looking at that and saying, well, yeah, I can't decide. I can't say it doesn't exist anymore. Therefore, there's some opportunities to get into some very strange things where it's almost guaranteed to have some form of results better than what they have right now. So I think just the population at large is pulling the scientists into this, maybe kicking and screaming in some cases, but universities are certainly not putting this on, first and foremost. And NIH is not going to do this, but citizen sciences are going to get funding, and people are going to start getting funding for this type of thing, and we're going to start accelerating. I feel that we're going to start seeing more results and more
Mhm.
published papers in incredible journals.
We've published on the Council Bluffs material, which wasn't extraordinary from a technical standpoint, but I think we proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that it wasn't the most likely scenario of uh, thermite because there was no evidence of aluminum oxide anywhere in the sample, or which would have been what you would have expected. Um, and we've studied a number of other materials that are very odd. We're now studying a material that shows some very interesting structure at the nano level. I'm not sure what it means. And the first thing I told the students to do is I said, I want you to go and find every other manufacturing technique that humans know about that might have accidentally made something like this. The last thing you want to do is publish something and then somebody says, oh, you idiot. Here it is in the Metallurgical Journal, 1953, of what would happen. And so, it's easy. For instance, the so-called alien honeycomb from New Mexico. That was, there's a book about it. It looks extraordinary, and I have pieces of it. Until you go into the literature and you find out, in fact, that the exact threading loop is actually a fishnet loop, and was used in the 1950s to keep resin in place as you bonded two pieces across aluminum honeycomb for aircraft. It's all there. How you make it, what it is, an actual picture of it. And so it's not alien honeycomb. And so the claimed uh, isotope ratios, you can look at the results and you go, okay, well, I don't know who did this mass spectrometry, but those are clearly di and triatomics. They just basically didn't know what they were doing. And so, I don't like being the person to come to the table and saying, well, it's garbage, or you misinterpreted it. All I want to do is say, okay, well, let's look at it again the right way.